My name's JPhanta, and today I'll be hosting the top 10 best free-to-play teams in Dokkan Battle for 2023. You will never guess what is number 1. I'm pretty sure this is self-explanatory. These 10 teams are what I think are going to get you pretty far in Dokkan Battle right now, whether that is challenging the Red Zone event, the Shadow Dragons event, or even Quest Mode. So let's begin this list, starting from the worst all the way to the best. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're starting things off with the GT Super Saiyan 4 Full Power Goku. I've done this amazing layout to show you guys the leader, as well as the friend leader, the rotations, and the substitutions you can make with certain units. This team is in number 10 because of the fact of GT Super Saiyan 4 Full Power Goku's dominance once transformed as well. Being a first slot unit is great. You have GT Vegeta here as a great partner for a constant guarding unit. The other rotation's not so great, but it has some good damage output with the Trunks and Broly, and Vegeta in here for the high chance of the guard, which is where it lacks and is why it is in the number 10 slot, as well as having a leader skill of only 70%, as this Vegeta's EZA is an all types leader 70%. However, if this team ever gets a 120% leader, it is going to look really, really good. So I had to put it in the top 10. In number 9 spot, we have a classic, which is the Ginyu Force. There's not much to say about it. It's still pretty solid. The ratio of events it can beat compared to other teams is really good, which is why it's still in the top 10. But I think in 2024, it might fade out if there's no more buffs. In the number 8 spot, we have the Super Saiyan Blue Vegito team. When you have access to any super unit, it has to be in the top 10 slot. Even if the Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta are like very bad in terms of damage, most events start off somewhat easy, and then the next phases after that is where it gets difficult. So using him on a free-to-play team works in our favor, where we can actually take our time to transform into Vegito and start cooking that way. I didn't have any subs here because, of course, you have so many units to pick from. If you find a better duo than Bulma and Yamcha, feel free to run that instead. I'd say the only bad thing here is obviously the linking potential is not the greatest here. In terms of the floaters to main rotation users, they just... You're using units from all the way in Dragon Ball Super all the way back to Dragon Ball. So linking wise is not the greatest. Next up, we have the Physical Trunks team in number 7. Worldwide Celebration has buffed up all of these units to a certain degree where it's now the top 10. I think the only problem here is slot 1s. But if you can get by that, the amount of damage you are doing is a lot. A crazy amount. And for future-proofing, once Broly and Trunks EZAs into, say, a 120% Time Travelers leader, you get access to extreme Time Travelers such as DKP, which could potentially mean a first slot unit for you. In the number 6 spot, we have the Saiyan Saga team, using Piccolo and Gohan as the friend leader. Very solid team. You have Ella Piccolo and the Gohan Piccolo as a nice rotation. Gohan, once revived, is an amazing unit for damage. And I've tested him out with after the first turn. He still outputs some decent amount of damage. As long as you get some crits, you're still consistently doing some good damage. I'd say the only problem here is the Gohan restriction with the Goku. So as you can see, we are running 2 Ella Gohans, both needing Goku on the rotation in order to get their max stats. And it's just a bit too awkward at this current moment. The only way of really solving this is getting rid of the Piccolo and Gohan rotation, which is not too favorable. But with a team of 5 LRs, your health is quite a lot, which is really amazing. And in terms of tanking, it is solid at the very least. Now we're in the top 5 right here. And this team is the GT Duo team. I think this is probably the strongest super-based team in the game for free-to-play. GT Duo, of course, with the Revival Finish skill is just so much damage. The multiple supers, the hidden potential criticals, all do a big part in doing a lot of damage. And, of course, with Trunks and Broly, that just is added further. Rotations are not bad as well. I'd say the only thing you worry about is the Trunks and Broly rotation with Kaioken and Goku on the high chance. Of course, you have substitutions and the floaters to switch out just in case you're versing a specific typing. Obviously, this is just a blueprint, and when you verse a specific event, you want to switch out your rotations depending on what typing the enemy has. But if you're versing a physical boss, you should have no troubles using this team for some really good damage. Now things are getting really spicy. In the 4th place, we have DB Saga team. It's not fully completed, but it still is a really strong team. So we're obviously using Path to Power Kid Goku as the friend leader. Now we are using the Dragon Ball Seekers variant of the DB Saga. You might be wondering, well, isn't DB Saga is Dragon Ball Seekers? We're missing a few units, such as Jackie Chun's, as well as the World Tournament Krillin. Unfortunately, they aren't DB Sagas. So if you had access to those, it could be even better, I would say. I think all you need to rely on is this Goku right here to LR into like a 120% DB Saga leader, or Mercenary World Tournament Tau EZA being a really good DB Saga unit. But I think the Goku will LR first, which is why I'm referencing him as the more important unit in this case. So obviously you have the classic Bulma and Yamcha rotation, such a great combo. The most fragile part is probably the fact that this Bulma loses a lot of her dodges after a few turns. I'd say that's the worst part, and that Goku needs a Bulma or Hachan or Yamcha, I guess, to activate his unit super attack. But because we're using our Yamcha on the other rotation, and we don't have Hachan on the team, we have to use this Bulma, as we're already using Tech Bulma here, and this Bulma needs a Goku, so it might as well be this Path to Power Goku as well. In the number 3 spot, we have the Earthlings team. What the DB Saga lacked in the Jackie Chan and Krillin, it's right here, baby, in the floater spot. Using Yamcha as the leader, I'd say the only reason why they're not top 1 or top 2 is because Yamcha is a pretty RNG heavy character, and the fact that using LR Krillin as the main rotation, he can be pretty fragile in the first part. And since Yamcha can cook, the synergy's off, because if he cooks too much, he kills. And then Krillin here doesn't get to stack as much, depending on how weak the event is. But of course, you have the Bulma and Yamcha combo. And you got Seeking Super Attacks, you got Revival Potential, you got Damage Reduction, 3rd slot. It's a pretty nice team. I'd say the only fragile spots are the Krillins and Roshi. But if Roshi is reviving, then that's a free turn for you. I've tested this team out with Yamcha post his intro, and he still outputs some decent damage as well, so it's not like you're losing all too much. In the number 2 spot, we have our first and final Extreme representatives, which is the Int Piccolo Jr. team, being the Terrifying Conquerors. It's number 2 because of how much damage this team outputs, which I think is super important. A lot of the hard events in the game are just 1 phases, 2 phases, which Piccolo Jr. works out to be just really, really good. Don't expect this team to go far in long events, however. That's pretty much it. They just do big damage, and then you just rely on items to survive at least for a few turns in order to get the giant form, active skill, and then hopefully kill the boss. I've done a lot of turn missions with this team. It works out to be really good. And a nice little combo that you can use is if you're versing Pure Saiyans and Hybrid Saiyans, use Hachiak to link up with the Ma Jr. You have good links and a better tank than relying on the guard from the Tech DKP. And then the final team you probably would have never guessed. If you did guess it right, make sure to leave a like on today's video. It's Earthbred Fighters. It's the tankiest team in the game, and we all know in Dokkan Battle, defense is king. World Tournament Goku as the friend leader, paired up with Jackie Chan. You have a guarding machine. Of course, you got the classic rotation of Bulma and Yamcha. How many times have we put them on the list? And then because you have so many options, so many subs, there are different ways to counter different type bosses. One thing you can do, which I didn't add, was the Roshi. If you want the quicker revive, you just have to run version Z Goku on the team as well. Probably only do that if you're versing like an int boss, I would say. The only typings you're not going to do well on with this team is probably versing physical bosses, as there's no real strong STRs other than Yamcha, and you probably want to use the Power Wishes team anyway for that. That's going to wrap up the top 10 best free-to-play teams in Dokkan Battle. My stream and I took hours in order to create this list. So make sure you follow me. Link in the description over at twitch.tv/JPhanta. First link in the description, become a member to get these videos as soon as I drop them, earlier than any other subscriber. Thank you to all the people that support the channel by becoming a member. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. I'll see you guys in the next video as always. Till then, let's hope for another good free-to-play year. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay busy. Peace.